Hi guys, welcome back to PFM Arts. So I already introduced this topic last time. So what I'm doing is I'm working on a commissioned piece, and what I wanted to show you is a way that you can use scraps, or what would normally be scraps, before they actually become scraps. So I showed you last time the different papers that I'm working with, and I'm working on a two signature journal, and I have 6 pieces of this lightweight scrapbook paper, and I decided to go with the lightweight scrapbook paper instead of the thicker scrapbook cardstock, because when I go to make these pockets down at the bottom, I don't want it to bulk up so much down at the bottom, if that makes sense. So these were originally 12 by 12 papers, and what I've done is I have simply cut off 1 inch of this paper, because what I'm trying to get to, I want all of my papers on the inside. If they were to be laid flat, I want all of them on the inside to measure 8.5 by 11. So I've already made this 11. Here's the little piece that I cut off on this side, and I will be using in the future, and I'll show you how I use that. So I'm going to take one of these papers. So what I need to do, this is already 11 across, so this is actually good to go. I just have to deal with this bottom portion here. Now there's a couple of ways that you can do this. You can measure it out, you can math it out, you can cheat count it. If you have one of these rotary cutter mats, just count 8.5 down, because that's how tall we want it to be, and just fold it on that 8.5. Or if you already have a paper that's already 8.5 by 11, you can cheat it like this and just bring this up. It may not be exact, but that's okay. I think as long as, for me at least, as long as it's not larger than 8.5, you're good. Because if it's larger than 8.5, then you're going to have pieces that stick up at the top and it's going to look weird. So I just went ahead and made that fold, and I'm just going to check it here to make sure that it's not bigger than 8.5. And I don't know if you can, yeah, you can see that. I am probably about 1/8 of an inch from it being 8.5. And I am, nope, you can't see that. Moving it up. Okay, here we go. I'm putting it on a line, on a line. Here we go, on a line. So this is my half inch line right here. And I'm about 1/8 of an inch off from that. And I'm perfectly okay with that. So now that I made that, I am going to find my bone folder, which of course I have left some other place. Bone folder. Okay. Bone folder. And I'm just going to crease this down. Make it look nice. Nice and kosher. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it over this way. And I did fold this out because if I don't, then I'm going to end up with a bulk in the center. And I don't want that, because I'm going to end up cutting that off anyway. And you guys will see what I mean in just a minute. I'm just lining this up. Again, eyeballing this if you wanted to be super exact. Break out a scoreboard or any number of things, but I'm not super concerned about being exact. Okay, I'm just going to make sure that that creases down well, and I'm not too wonky on the edges, so that's good. All right. So now you have a couple of options here. I remember I did just say, so I'm going to make it so that these pockets fold this way. Now, if you don't do anything with this centerpiece right here, you're going to end up, when you glue it down, you're going to end up with, yeah, you can see that, little edges that end up coming and getting smushed out just because of the way the paper is. And you could work it down a little bit, but it seems a little bit much for me. Instead of doing that, honestly, what I like to do is I either like to take my Fiskars cutter and just come along here and get a small portion of the edge off. And I'm only going down, take this back out. I'm only going down to where this fold mark is, right? I'm only going down to here because I don't want to cut through the actual paper. I just want to separate these two pockets down at the bottom, so it'll just lay a little bit more nicely. Now I'm just going to trim off just a little bit, and you can see I think this is less than 1/2 of an inch out at the top. I've just positioned it so that my wire is ending or starting, it's crossing, it's bisecting the fold here, right where I have the pocket to fold up. And then I'm coming down and I have probably less than a ½ inch down here at the bottom. So I'm just going to take this and do that. So I end up with this tiny little triangle that I actually may use. So I'm going to save that. All right. So if you don't have one of those cutters, you can 100% take your good old scissors and just cut it down and cut it off. So now what I end up with is this, and this ends up folding a lot better and behaving on the sides. Now you may still end up with a little bit, and mine is going to be a little bit wonky because I did fold it a little bit off. So I can just come back after the fact and trim that off. The next thing that I want to do before I go any further is I do want to round these corners. You don't have to. You don't have to have a corner rounder. You can, oh, that's right. You absolutely do not have to have a corner rounder, because since that is not round, or that's not quite square anymore, I'm going to go in with my scissors and just round the corner myself. Boop. And I've seen a lot of people do this different ways. Like they take a circle or some kind of cylindrical device and put it on the top and then draw a line and then cut it out. But I am not that interested in being that exact. And honestly, I think I do a pretty okay job about this. It's not exactly mirroring. You can see that this is a little bit deeper than this one, but it's okay. No big deal. Because again, this is going to be in a signature anyway, and these pages are unlikely going to face each other. All right, so this is the step where you would pause and figure out if you wanted to give this any type of definition before you go on to glue it. And gluing it is actually the last step. You can do it after the fact, but it is more of a pain. And that is based on personal experience. I think about, oh, I don't really need to do that. And then I get done and I say, oh my, definitely should have done that. So I'll show you how to do that in a subsequent video. But for this one, hang on just 1 second. I'll go ahead and edge these and I'll be back and I'll show you how to glue it down and we'll be done. Hang on. Hi guys, I'm back. Went ahead and just did a little bit of edging around here in gold. And the last step of this is just to glue it down. You have a couple of options here. And I'm going to take my glue and I'm just going to go along the edge here, put a thin bead down. And again, I know that these edges aren't going to line up perfectly, so I will have to cut some off, but just a thin bead of glue down here at the edge. If you wanted to, you could 100% come over here and glue this edge down as well. But I kind of like it on the slant as it is, so it ends up being kind of more of a corner tuck pocket. So I'm only going to glue down this one edge on the outside, so on the right and the left. And I am going to go back, and so I go all the way down to the fold. And it's really maker's choice if you want to glue down this very top part, how far up you want to go. And I'm just going to go up just a little bit on that curve. And I'm just going to squish it down a little bit here. And then I will set these guys. Yep, got a little bit of extra glue. Got to get a baby wipe. Set these guys down to dry and do a little bit of smushing here and make sure that everything's all playing nicely and happily together. And that's it. So basically what we've done is we've saved a 11-inch across piece, 11-inch by whatever this is. What is this? 3.5-inch piece, and it's not a scrap anymore. It's now a pocket, which is super cool. Okay, that's it for now. Bye guys.